Thank you, and welcome back to Center Webcast. This is the COVID-19 edition, Indiana County. This is episode 6. I am joined right now by Tony Deloretto, owner of Spaghetti Benders here in downtown Indiana, right on Philadelphia Street. How are you today, Tony?
I'm doing great today, Gerald. How you doing?
Fantastic. I'm doing great. Thank you for joining us. So I know you've been really, really busy throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, in particular, answering some of the needs of the community in a real way. Can you first tell us a little bit about, for those of us not familiar with Spaghetti Benders, tell us about your establishment history and where have you been here?
Well, I've been Spaghetti Benders has been around since 1991. So 29 years ago, working on 29 years, and so I'm 58, so I've been officially there half my life. And we started out as just a takeout restaurant, and it grew into something more that the community needed, that we just adapted with the community to be able to sit people and have have a nice casual dining atmosphere that welcomes everyone to come.
Fantastic. So I think a lot of folks that are watching know a lot about you. So last month, with regard to the pandemic, Governor Wolf closed all non-essential businesses due to the COVID-19 pandemic. How has this affected your business? Oh,
it's affected it dramatically, as all restaurants. I mean, we're limited to takeout. We're trying to. I mean, we do DoorDash, and we're trying to get into Grubhub. We're trying not to deliver ourselves because we just feel like if we're not sending people in and out, it just keeps the less chance of contracting anything or giving it to anybody. And that's we're just working like that. And we need all the people in the community just to support restaurants that are providing takeout and Spaghetti Benders along with others, and just be able to to get the word out there. That way, we're still open for business. We just need you to stop by. And
you've been extra busy. I know right after the closures happened and right after schools closed, you jumped right into serving the community and had lunches ready immediately for kids. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, when it first came down that the schools were going to close, my wife and I talked and we worried about the kids getting lunches, and before we knew that the schools were going to provide lunches, we decided to feed pre-K through 12, whoever needs lunch. And we were a little nervous at first because we thought, we're going to be getting 400 or 500 people at a time, and really got my wife a little got her a little edgy because it's usually just me, her in the kitchen, and Josh on the tables. But fortunately for everybody, the area school district stepped up and they provided lunches. So we're doing between 35 and 40 lunches a day. And we do spaghetti with butter or red sauce, fresh Italian bread, and then bottled water or milk. We got some milk donated by ICAP. Fruits, whatever fruit we have, apple, oranges, and bananas. We have a lot of bananas today. And we're just trying to be there for, like I said, when we first decided to do it, we didn't know what we were getting into. And fortunately, everybody's, a lot of people getting taken care of, like the Chevy Chase. Chevy Chase has really stepped up and provided a valuable service for the community. And as you know, I'm a board member there. Been a board member there going on 3 years. Every Tuesday morning, I go to Martin's and I glean for Chevy Chase. I go up there early and bring food back. But as far as all the restaurants are down, and it's like a 14-week plan. You got to think 14 weeks ahead of time just to make that survival plea and get out there. And when I was listening to Q, she talked about, I applied for the same 2 loans she talked about, but I didn't hear her talking about applying for unemployment because self-employed people were never allowed to do that. So I just Q, if you haven't done it, apply for unemployment because I think it's available for self-employed people, and that's that's what we're doing. We're just trying to survive, and we're providing a service to the kids. And on Sunday night, I read a children's story, Stregonona. It's a grandma witch, and it's about a magic pot that made pasta. So it was right up my alley. So if you go to Facebook and go to Spaghetti Bender's Facebook, I got a 10-minute story I read to the kids. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that every Sunday. And we put it out Sunday night, and already 3,500 kids have read it. So just trying to beat everybody's in it together. We're all in this together, and we just all got to work together to get past this and look to the future.
So I appreciate that. Let me ask you about some of the relief bills and some of the information that's out there. Can you say again the 2 loans that you had applied for, that you had experience in, and maybe you could talk about that in terms of, was that an easy process to do? Are you expecting some relief there? Are you optimistic about that process?
Well, I'm hoping, also to Q, she said she didn't know where to go with online, but I do know First Commonwealth and S&T banks are working with those loans. So if you just call it a First Commonwealth and S&T bank, they'll get you lined up with a loan officer to be able to set that forward. As it pertains to the paycheck protection, we filled out an application last week. Now they had a new application this week. I just redid it this afternoon, and this is just a matter of staying up on it and just getting the paperwork through, and hopefully the most important thing they say is just to get the paperwork in, and then if they whatever they got to work with, they got to verify numbers, and you have to change what you're doing. Just do it as you go. Same thing with unemployment. Just get that in there, and then just work from there. But the most important thing is to get the application filled out, get the unemployment papers filled out, and this is a unique time where, like I said, I would have never thought in a million years that, okay, if my income's reduced, I might be able to get unemployment. But that's the government stepping up, and because I don't think they have a choice. They have to, because we have to keep the economy going, and they got to do whatever it takes. And I think they're heading in the right direction. We are likely going to have somebody from First Commonwealth on our Thursday program, because I think most of those small business relief programs you need to apply to through a sponsoring bank, is my understanding. Is that right? Yeah,
most of our banks
for the one loan, for the one loan, I think it's the paycheck protection one that has to go through a sponsoring bank, and I do believe S&T and First Commonwealth are sponsoring banks.
Awesome. Well, is there anything else that you want to kind of share with us about your experiences in terms of being a small business owner? One of the interesting things about our 2 business owners here, I think, Hair for Everyone is a newer business. You're sort of an older business. What's your thought about what this looks like in the future, and how we come out of this?
Well, like I said, I think that from what they're saying, I've watched a couple of webinars, and it's really, they want you to think 14 weeks out. Just how to strategize, prioritize your bills, and look into your lenders. Like I have a couple mortgages and car loans, and just see if they'll work with you in that way, and just be able to I know when it's like car loans, you can you can pay an interest on it for 6 months, and they're probably an exemption for even more now. But you just got to prioritize. Make sure you have food for your family, and and food for your family is most important. And then just taking it down the road, you have to prioritize which bills you're going to use. Need to be paid the most, and just to be able to keep things going. Like maybe the utilities companies might work with you, where you don't have to pay everything up front, and you can make payments. You just have to explore all avenues. If you have a landlord, or if I don't have, I have a mortgage, so I have to deal with my banks. But if people have landlords, hey, talk with them, ask them, say, can you work with me? And most people, I think, will be understanding, and if they can, a lot of times, like I said, I have mortgages, so, and I'm a landlord also, and I just, you just have to, if they can, a landlord will work with you, and they'll prioritize their bills too. And the same thing goes to everybody, because everybody's in this together, Gerald. It's not discriminating against anyone. It's
Right.
taking everybody. So, and we just also, we got to treat. We have to go around like we have it, that we have the corona. We don't want to give it to anybody else, and we have to act like everybody else has it. We don't want to get it. I think that's the safest way to go about it, and that way everybody's just in the same frame of mind, and we're able just to we got to weather the storm. We will weather the storm. We live in the greatest country in the face of the earth, and then we'll take it from there. And because Americans, that's what Americans do. They come together in a time of crisis.
Thanks. Let me ask one more question. You mentioned about personal protective equipment, face masks and gloves, and CDC, and I think most folks are recommending that everybody's wearing masks when they're out. As an essential business serving as a restaurant, do you guys have masks?
Yes, we just bought them today. I got Tressa Yemens, who works for Judy Holiday. Judy Holiday's providing a great service for people with some masks, and Tressa Yemens is also a seamstress too, and I asked her over the weekend, and I bought some masks off her for her and for me and my wife and my employees, just to be able to have one. And when we take the food out we have a garage door in a land, with a shelf there, and we bring it, we have our mask on, we have sanitizer there, we have disinfectants everywhere. We're just being extra cautious, and which everybody has to be. Everybody has to be extra cautious, and that's what we're doing. And if I'm going, I have my mask around me. If I go outside, I'm putting my mask on. If I got to be around people, when I went to Martin's this morning for Chevy Chase, I have my mask on, I have my gloves on, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. Do you get the sense that other people around town, when you are around town, do you see folks wearing masks these days?
Yes, probably. I'd say about 60, between 60 and 70% are probably wearing masks, which is good to see. I watched a young man on the news last night. He didn't have one. He goes, well, he says, I'm not worried about getting it. And what the young people got to understand is, it's not about you getting it. It's about you giving it to somebody else. That's where they really have to, they have to visualize that and say, and take it to heart. It's okay.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But if you just got to make sure you don't give it to somebody else.
And that's what how many young people have heard the advice of, it's not about you.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Well, thank you so much, Tony. We're gonna hear a little bit from Josh, I think, for a transition, and we're gonna be right back with Chief Justin Saul from the Indiana Borough Police. Thank you, Tony, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Gerald.